Doom 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 doom. Ban out, ban out. Excellent condition. We are screaming and streaming. Friday the 13th night live. This is Liam Jarrett joining you on this very 13th of January, the first week of 2023. We're going to do a little bit of numerology, and then astrology, the science of numbers. It's my intro song. I think it's fair use because it's old. We're going to go over when you were conceived. You can control what kind of baby you have. If you could control when you have it. So, do you not want to have a Scorpio? Well, then don't have sex during Aquarius season. The coldest time of the year. When you conceive during that time of the year, you have a Scorpio baby. And that is good to think of things in nines. 9 was such a sacred number to the Chaldeans, whom everything comes from, pretty much. The ancient Babylonian Sumerians, priests. That's where, okay, not to get lost, but that's deep. Hebraic numerology and their language comes from that same area. So 9 is especially related to the moon and Mars. Mars is the fire over the moon-ruled waters. And in that cauldron, in that womb, is where we are made. The letter Mem in Hebrew is the 13th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Related with the feminine Mem. Femamem. 13th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Adding up to numerologically 40. So we have the 40 days of the passing through the waters is likened to the 13th letter of the waters that we pass through when we come into birth. Through the heated up sexual waters ruled by Scorpio, who rules the water, who is Mars, who rules the genitalia. The 12 zodiacal signs are largely based upon the fecundation. I'm not sure if I'm using that word right. The conception, from conception to birth. There it is on a micro scale. And as below, so above. On the macro scale, same shit's happening. Now, the genitalia is closely related to, especially the woman's system, which is the 2 ovaries and then the bottom where it meets, the chalice. The male is the 2 testicles on the bottom and then the top where it meets. The 6-point star is a sexual symbol. It's magic. In there is where we create, in that it's dark waters. And the light hovers over it, which is the sperm going over the ovum. And I'm not a super biologist, but the more I study this Gnostic teachings, this Hermeticism, it is scientific. It just takes it and expands upon it. So it's metaphysical, not just purely physical material. And it's syncretic, these teachings. And a big part of it is a little bit embarrassing to talk about. Do we have anybody in the chat? Yo. Nobody watching, but that's okay. Please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. No. Phooey. The sexual waters are ruled by the moon. There's 2 sides of the moon, just like there's there's 2 sides to every planet. It's positive and negative aspects, just like we have positive and negative aspects. The moon, it's like our computer. Is our computer good or bad? It is what it is. It's what we do with it. How we put our will consciously to it. And if we're not conscious of it, then we just get worked with by it, like a mechanical garbage disposal and regurgitator. The moon mechanically is in charge of the menstrual. Virgo and the moon have a very close relationship because that's Mercury and the moon, and then Venus. From the sun to earth is how we were created. From the sun to the moon, father to mother. And in between there we get Venus and Mercury. We want to bring them together, Hermes and Aphrodite. As a hermaphrodite, then they split off and gave us gender. I think what we want to do is bring them together in sex. The Lover's card is 6 in the tarot, and it's Vav. And it's like it's feminine, water, and it's the spine. And so it has to do with capturing that fire. The woman has the fire, captures the fire, and then like works it through the spine, up the spine, which is why Isis and Nephthys turned into kites, into birds, lady falcons, and did a beautiful magical dance, symbolizing the black and the white sphinx that lead the chariot in the card of Cancer, which is the 7th card that comes after the Lovers, which is Zion, which is like the lightning bolt to the Vav, which is 6 before it. There's a 7 and 6 coming together for 13. 13 has to do with sacred sex. And the female, especially the priestess in magic, which is more likened to Nephthys, who's the dark mirror image of Isis, who are the 2 stars, Sirius and Procyon, in the constellation of Cancer, who follow Orion, Osiris through the sky, blinking, weeping. The Marys at the cross of Jesus. I put that together on my own. Thank you. Pride is something that they really teach against in these Gnostic studies. I hear Kabbalists talk about this too. It's really asks you to be self-reflective. And here's a great practice. Every time I was told this, every time that I'm gonna say you, but I'm talking to we, the royal us. Every time we go to criticize somebody, like driving, just any time, do match that with one to yourself, and you will wind up hating yourself in the process. Or at least being more conscious of that voice in our head, our mind, and how it works. It helps you to be more mindful. Dog, I can't see any live chats. Or people out on Friday night? Have I been shadow banned to the nether realm? Stream status is poor. Woe is me. What's taking so long for this feed to bounce off of a satellite? Come back to us. You know, so this teaching, and this is gonna get a little personal. I said that. Yeah, so I printed out, dog. It is interesting to know. The 9th card in the tarot, the 9th letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Tet, which is a hermit holding up a lamp with a 6-pointed star in it, and it has to do with like gestating that light, which is what pregnancy is. And the 9th letter and the 9th number relates to pregnancy because of the 9 months. And then 13 also relates to it, between the relationship in 13 and 9. The moon moves 13 degrees every day through the sky. And then that also links up with Saturn. For the moon takes 28.5 days to move in its orbit around the Earth in relationship to the sun. And Saturn, 28.5 years. What the fuck? Got this shit. We are in... One time when I was in school, I heard them talk about what the Masons thought about, what deists, how they explain the world. And they made it sound very almost comical. And they, in the handout I got from the teacher, said that deists, which the majority of the Masons were, I guess, that's a whole nother video, believed that in the grand architect, which is true, which is Saturn, Kronos. But the whole handout didn't have all this in it because you weren't fucking woke like us. And that the creator started a clock and turned the clock up and then let it go. And that's creation. At the time, I'm like, that's fucking crazy. And now I think about it, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much what I think too. And it's like got wheels within wheels going different ways. And that's what got us in the Saturn Moon Matrix. Saturn and the Moon are the dealers of karma. Dharma. The reaping and the harvesting. That idea of karma and dharma isn't so foreign to the West. What you reap is what you sow. Our actions have like consequences. Sometimes I wish that wasn't true, but it was. And from the look of it, we're going to have to answer for our... There's no name that we're going to call upon that's going to lift the consequences of our actions from us. Yes, the universe, in her infinite mercy, may have compassion and mercy upon us for the wastrel of this life. I'm just speaking about myself. Levi, Saturn is all-devouring time. The sickle represents harvesting souls. Yep, together with the moon. I don't know if you got that. They work in tandem. Gurdjieff, he said something about the moon being the devourer of souls. And I think she's just doing the work of Saturn. That's just what she does, for good or for bad. So what we want to do, according to these teachings, is don't create in that fucking circle, in that loop. And what does it, that our lunar bodies, which is in charge of our sexual, mechanical, instinctual, motor nature, just like the moon is the task timekeeper, really. The moon is essential in the way that we don't fucking understand it. In esoteric teaching, they teach that the moon used to be a place that was a host of life, just like an Earth. And it's, I think we've traveled to here from there. I'm not sure physically or fucking just like, I don't know. But, yeah. How about that? There's another view that this Earth was solid crust and then water blew up from underneath it, creating our continents and expanding. We're in an expansive part and then it contracts. Evolution, devolution. It looks like we're on the breath out. And then the body that we're in is going to breathe in one day. You know, they talk about the Native Americans and that we live on a fucking polar bear, or the Indonesians top of a turtleback. I don't think that's so far away of it. That's a pretty good fucking analogy. Fucking the bear's just going to get up and shake us the fuck off, because that's just what nature does. You can't blame her. She's just doing what the fuck she came here to do. She gave us a fucking beautiful coat, space coat. We have such little understanding of our own fucking biological makeup, let alone the makeup that we're in. That's why I was hesitant to do the Smash meme, because they're using technology that has to do with DNA. You can't say manipulation. What? Messing around with. I mean, because you have to use the terms. So be careful what terms you use. I said, well, I don't know much, but I know we don't know shit about DNA. And every day, it seems, they learn that something wasn't fucking trash when they were calling it garbage DNA just last week. Brings me to something. Although on that same note. So, say this nature that we're in, God's relationship to it, let's not even get into that. But let's just say that, so from our karmic mistakes, or even that of our own parents, my dad is alcoholic, then it's likely I'm going to be a fucking alcoholic, and our DNA carries a good part of that message, it turns out. So, we could just snip that out. Oh, is that throwing up a middle finger to God? Or are we God flipping up a middle finger to Titan, who are the same fucking people? The goat card, we talked about the death card as number 13 in tarot. It's Scorpio. And so we talked about the number 13 and how it's actually related to fucking life as well. Because at some certain level, we died the same time that we came in here. We died to the existence that we were living before we were born into this one. And before we're born into the next one, we have to die in this one. The thing that we ignore the most is our own death. Match with our own self. We like to think that we're fucking self-reflective and fucking trying to be conscious. And at least speaking personally, as I've tried to make it somewhat of a little bit of an effort to do so, realize just how very little I like to do so and how little I have because of the discomfort. They also teach that we're kind of living in hell. I'm like, just trying to get comfortable here. Well, I feel like a lot of us are just trying to get comfortable in a hell. What percent of fraternal organizations are sold out to Zionism? They were created with that from its very inception. From the word go, it was set up by the mainstream of the whole initiation rituals, theology, eschatology is built around the Temple of Solomon. The base of the Abrahamic faiths like Islam and Christianity and all its millions of fractures and all Masonry, including Rosicrucianism and the tradition that I've been pulling stuff out of, started by this guy, or at least carried on by Samael Aun Weor, Rosicrucianist type Kabbalist. And they speak about Jesus as a literal historical figure sometimes. I don't know if they do that just because they don't want to freak people out, because when I tell people that Jesus was not a historical figure, and not only that, but it was set up as a prop to enslave many people and manipulate them, and maybe even worse on different levels. That's not a message that's received with fucking open arms. They're not passing around the basket on Sundays to hear that message. But maybe they didn't teach it because they do teach against worshiping the personality of Jesus, but they do think that it was a historical person who was like a master. Well, obviously, it's a Kabbalism. Very much plays a part in the story of Jesus, because it's very much a part of the story of Moses, and which was a new Moses is Jesus. Just taking a character and doing another season with it. Putting it 50 years into, that's like me reaching back 20 years from now and taking a Batman character and making a Batman number 7. But with the intention to propagandize, manipulate a certain people for a certain reason. Which you don't think that they're doing that in Hollywood to this very day? Or from the very jump of that as well? Things just didn't one day slip into total propaganda brainwashery. Ooh, a little heated today. Hell is where the cool people go. Yeah, so what percent? But you know what? And I don't want to talk about this on that channel. I recommend going to another channel of mine. And I talk more about specifically other topics which I like to stay away from a little bit on the aquarium, because I want this to be more of a spiritual place. And I said I don't hold many punches back, but I also don't want to get my channel banned. Certain sacred cows we cannot touch. People's spirituality is tied up with the J myth, so they defend it because they're duped. I believe Levi is referring especially towards the cucked Christians. Now, this is a sad thing. Now, if there's just a 70-year-old abuela whose rosary beads and devocionale to the Virgin of Guadalupe. And that gets her through to the next Huevo. I love that Hispanic people. Then I'm not going to give a sermon telling this lady how she's worshiping a psyop. But if there's Father Oscar de la Hoya going around San Pueblo preaching that you need to send your firstborn off to go fight a war for the people that he came out of in Mesopotamia 2,000 years ago, then I stand up, and we should all stand up and be courageous to speak to truth. And truth will be on our side. In academia, they no longer think that Moses or Abraham was a historical figure. And they will give that as a criticism in the world of academia and universities today in theology programs. They will say that no one takes those mythicists seriously who don't believe in the historicity of Jesus of Nazareth. 20 years from now, if we're still fucking around, G-D forbid, they will be looked upon as fucking idiots. I have to stop cursing so much. Oh, I meant to say that the genitalia is related to our throat and our thorax above there. It looks like a woman's vagina, and it's likened to that. So the fifth card in the tarot is H-E-H. It's Yod, Vod. Yod, the masculine. Breathe into it. Fire, sexual fire, air. And then Ve, Vav, the feminine. And then that's the sacred name of God. The male, Adam, in sex, together breathing at the same time. It's all about sex, bro. What you want to do it. That teaching of Gnosticism that I've come across is that you want to have sex not in a bestial manner. You want to have it in, dare I say, human manner. In this teaching, they teach that we're not even fucking humans, that we're just like more intelligent animals. Or they say that even a real human, a true human, is even higher than the angels. They do teach like we're like born in fucking sin because our parents busted a nut at in a base level of sexual intercourse, and that brought in a base, dense body. And so, do they get extinct because they don't reproduce? Because they're not trying to reproduce in this place because they think it's kind of hell. But then in Judaism, they're like, well, this is the world to come. And so they're like taking over hell. So they might as well be the boss of hell. It's fucked up. Is it kind of escapism? And they kind of teach that like I don't know if we're light that was traveling and they got trapped into this and we're trying to get out. Or if we were at a lower level and we could have got brought up. So we're all a bunch of fucking demons that raised up into this place. Is one way to look at it, and I've heard it that way. Or at least we came from lower conscious levels. It starts in the mineral level. It's consciousness there. It's just at a mineral level. And then a vegetable level, vegetation, plants, trees. We were once a fucking tree. We were once a fucking the salt fucking structure. And then after vegetation, animal. And then hopefully fucking human. And they say we are not even close. The divine eye of providence, providence, vision. It has to do with forbearance, forethought, which is Prometheus. Prometheus means providence. And you will see in Rockefeller Center where they have all of this fucking laid out for you. It's also stealing the fire from the gods, which is stealing the fire from the devil. The Satan card, Samek, the 15th letter in Hebrew, which is the Ouroboros in its letter, is shaped like a snake eating its own tail. And then out of that comes the ayin, the eye, the 16th letter, number 70, which is the new order. 7 being the first order, 7D being the new order. They're trying to, the whole new world order thing, it's all, when you go up the Kabbalah's tree of life, you don't just come back down. You're supposed to, they teach that you go and create the next tree to go and work up. Well, dark fucking Kabbalists have it that they've traveled to the top, to the crown, to the summit. And then instead of going on to the next one, they decide to fucking put a cage around this one. Look at Salvador Dali's as he hosted a party for the Our-Childs. And Audrey Hepburn had a head in a cage. 2019, a movie that came out, Birdcage. And it's likened to the cube, really. And I think they try to put a cube, a sphere inside the cube. If you can't do that, put a dome on top of your cube. We see that in architecture everywhere. Sacred geometry in architecture for magical fucking purposes. Look up the Temple of Set. Is also known as the Temple of the Trapezoid. For trapping motherfucking demons in that bitch. In Gnosticism, they teach cool shit like fucking astral traveling, which we do in the sleep yoga. Merkaba mysticism, which again, you create your chariot by putting the 3 to the 3. 3 is the number of creation. And then 3 times 3? 9! The ultimate number of creation. What? Fucking us! How do we get from 9 to 13? 4, which goes back to that. The 4th letter is who is the Pope or the Hierophant? No, who is the Emperor in the Tarot deck? Which is fire like into Aries. That fiery air is the masculine. And then the mud is really the feminine. Adam is made from woman. Adam means red clay. But in order for clay, you need water, right? Anyways, what we have to do is open up. Here's a Promethean exercise. Your fucking spine. So it's a straight fennel, a hollowed out stalk. And call in the highest, clearest light. Fire, lightning shooting down into the top of our crown, setting it spinning clockwise. And then descending into our spine, into the root, and we catch it there. And then we in like the dark waters of our lower recesses, and then we use it to brighten up the red, and then we hold it there, and then we work it up, red, orange, yellow, green, to our heart area. And then up through the blue, the violets and the blues. But I don't think we're supposed to be jerk offs. Every time that this is the teaching, that in the orgasm, that you lose your semen through a spasm, an orgasm, that you have used that furnace down there, that cauldron, that you've spilled it. And you don't have any oil to hold that flame, that light. What we're trying to do here is create an ecstatic experience. And in that experience, we're hoping to gain knowledge. And there's very practical teachings that they've laid out for us to do such things. Breathing exercise called pranayama. Taking that prana, and then yama is stretching it out, working it out through breath work. And that's just the practical stuff. Fucking not being an asshole, self-centered prick, and being compassionate, loving, upright, straight up, moral, and sacrificing our own quick little pleasure fixes for a greater cause. It doesn't even have to be for the fucking salvation of humanity, just for our very own self. No one can do this work for us. There is no name that we're going to call out at the end. Fucking Jesus. That was a big fucking psyop. Just sit back and wait. The end of the world is coming. The rapture. Just sit back and read your fucking Bible that they put in the nightstand of every hotel because our government in this world is really trying to get us to fucking wake up and have a mental fucking conscious revolution. Or quite possibly could it be the other way around? To keep us slave masters guarding the fucking plantation. All right, Levi, thank you for being here. Morals are so rare lately, and I am not the moral fucking master, dog. I'm just having to come back to Jesus. Jesus. And it's been finding these teachings. I'm like, that makes sense. Yeah, I had a feeling being fucking addicted to pornography and being a jerk off wasn't the best use of my time and energy, but I just didn't know that there's levels to that shit. They very possibly may be purposely pumping that out on us, like, for dark fucking energy reasons. If we're all watching Sunday football all the time, all that virility, if we have any left after watching all the commercials with tits in my face and a beautiful naked, it doesn't make sex some taboo fucking thing. It makes it sacred and sanctifies it. It's the sacredest of the sacraments, the consummation of the marriage. In the inner sanctorums, the Holy of Holies. And if we're not in a cooperative union with another, and we're not trying to do sex just for to fulfill this, like, I don't know, I'm still working with this teaching, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let's go like no No fat February. We should. If there's some man who never gave in to, not because of suppression. It's not a repression. It's not a suppression. Because then what that shows up in unhealthy ways. And that's why the priesthood, the seminary, is supposed to teach you about semen retention, probably. Instead, they teach a bunch of repression, and that comes out in unhealthy ass fucking ways, I would say. So ideally, you go to the seminary, every fucking man. It's an Aquarian national estate that we're starting. You learn how not to be a jerk off. You learn how to be a fucking man. And learn how to love the woman within. And then you can fucking appreciate the goddess in another woman who might come into your life. And then when she falls short of that, it's fucking alright because you haven't set her up as the goddess. We're in touch with Father, Mother, God within. When we don't have that, we look for it outside of us. And our government gives it to us in our missing collective daddy issue that this Abrahamic Christian story has given to us. I sincerely believe that. Yet the pineal gland is lockstep in fucking hand with our sexual glands. Wouldn't you believe it? You know, as little as they know about our DNA, they know equally as little about our own fucking glandular system. Which is linked up with the zodiac and the planets, as is all this. It's all so beautiful. And it's all so crazy. Crazy for feeling this way. I'm making t-shirts with, this is Nephthys. Wodan. Here's Nephthys she's got turned into Mary Magdalene, sacred prostitute of the Temple of Priestess. So no sexual fucking magic. I know this wasn't a fucking historical fucking person one day. But the older the gods and the goddesses that you tap into, the more power they have. Just like the God of the Bible has a lot of fucking power because we give it to this motherfucking genocidal fuck. But it can be redeemed when we figure out the esoteric, allegorical, metaphorical, metaphysical, metaphysiological meanings of these stories. And we see they are not so unique to just the Abrahamic faith. They very much come from the Orient, Indus Valley. Beautiful freaking Proto-Indo-European land. Perhaps even fucking Atlantis, Lemuria, fucking. To think that we're the most advanced civilization that's ever even, let alone in the universe or even on the fucking earth, about the dumbest motherfucking thing I ever heard! Woo! A lot of coffee tonight. Another thing, coming back to talk about it in 2 minutes. Here's a song I like to play for you in the meanwhile by the Duets. Sorry. Use your imagination. Check, check. Oh. I'm surprised you couldn't hear that because it's right next to my microphone. Anyway, it's called Every Beat of My Heart. Look it up on Spotify. So, pornography and masturbation. I'm such a Scorpio that I talk about this. Scorpios talk about taboo shit. And usually it has to do with and sex and death. These are all the things I talk about. Luckily, I have a Sagittarius moon, so I'm not so fucking morbid, because I'm also a Capricorn ascendant, so Saturn, Satan's my ruler, and Samael. That's when that Samael Warren took the name Samael. Something to think about. In the tarot card of the devil, he's got the caduceus with the fire coming up below him. And Pan has to do with like the... It's all about taming the beast. And in most esoteric circles, made popular by fuckboy Aleister Crowley and what he did to OTO. And I don't know if Golden Dawn ever taught... Did they teach about morals and ethics? See, in Masonry they do, but do they teach about not having orgasm in marriage at the spilling of the seed level? And trying to work that up through sex? Do they teach Tantra? White Tantra as compared to Black Tantra. White magic as compared to black magic. And I hate saying white's good and black's bad, but... You know, I'm reading one of the books I'm reading, the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And as the guide brings the character, the reader, through the bardos of death after death, he keeps on reminding him of to look at the clear light. The clear light. So if you're when you die, motherfucker, look for the clear light. What about the night light? They teach that if you have a dream of a nightmare, you went to hell. Going to hell is dying in a nightmare, I think. And dog, I have fucking... Tell me what you know about night terrors every night. 5 a.m. Oh, I think I just fixed my music. Pull up selector. I was supposed to DJ a Sunday brunch this Sunday, but it got canceled. Anyways, good kind of, because I've been trying to not only no fap, which I hate saying that word, not drink fucking alcohol, my guy. Turns out drunkards aren't probably going into the fucking halls of Amenti. The moon will fucking suck a drunkard up like myself and spit it right back out, hopefully back into Earth. Dog, when I go through sobering up and detoxing, I have the scariest, worst nightmares. That alone in itself should be a sign that alcohol is probably not healthy for our spiritual fucking advancement here. Now, can some people, at the same time, they teach, like, don't repress it either. Then you create another devil right next to it. So it's a detachment from it, how you're just not bothered by something. And I don't know how to get there, dog, because I have a history of alcohol use, being a DJ, being Irish and Polish. Lots of excuses. And we'll see if Anubis at the scales of Ma'at is going to be all right with my excuses. Who's like into Mercury? Who's a recorder? Who's in between us? What? The moon and the sun. Reports back to Saturn, I think. Our witnesses. We had 2 witnesses before. So I think when we die, we're going to get judged. Ooh, dream hack. So I have this. I don't like to talk about dreams or personal revelation, although I like to hear about it. I kept on having this reoccurring dream, and I want to say it's so reoccurring, but a theme is that back in my hometown, they had a warrant for me because I got away from drinking, driving recklessly, and getting a DUI, and then I never went to the probation. I remember going to a court hearing, and they gave me probation. This is all in dream world. And then I had that lingering, like I had an interaction with a cop, and they're like, oh, you know, you have a warrant for your arrest, and they went to go arrest me, and I took off running. And then when I woke up, and I'm like, oh, that's been a reoccurring theme, is me having this warrant out for my arrest somehow. So what I did is I wrote down in my phone, just on your computer on a piece of paper, write down to be your own ethereal, astral lawyer, and say, and rewrite the story, and say, oh, I ran into this is what I did. I said, I had like a wedding. I said, at the wedding, the chief police officer of the town had such a great time that afterwards he came up to me and he said that he lost the warrant and that it got lost in the system. And period. And so it is. And then ever since I did that, I don't have that come up in my dream world. That's being a magician and using the word. And then especially when you write it down, that's powerful too. I'm teaching y'all how to be fucking magicians. Let's go. I mean, I'm sure you already know. We all do it, but intentional, conscious exercising of our will is our strongest thing we have here. And that's very much tied to Mars. And if we could take that into the sexual act or just throughout the day by saying yes to this, that's good, no to that. Yes to not smoking another cigarette in 5 minutes. These small little things, they create friction, tension that brings us up. Out of this fucking dark fucking base existence, at least hopefully out of the world of fucking nightmares. And when you start, I just spent a little time doing this, and you feel like you got more energy. We're all going around and looking for these energy drinks now, like that's a new phenomena, very much closely tied together with the oversaturation of porn phenomena. And even if you're not into just movies, commercials, daily. Now, hopefully we get to a place where we can see a beautiful woman's body and see it as the body of a goddess divine without thinking about jumping on it and fucking in some state of how many times have the sexual act got people into trouble? And they know this. Was not the whole Jeffrey Epstein fucking island all built upon this? These honeypots? Just a case in point example of them doing this, and we all know it. It's all about transmutation. And sexual energy is just that goes throughout It's not just sex, but that's the most powerful form of it that we have here. Why? Because it creates fucking life. I'm gonna have to start taking care of my temple. I have to take better care of my cage. Mm-hmm. Alcohol, ghoul. It's ghoulish. Bring up the spirits. Black. We're trying to be conscious. I'm trying to be conscious here. And I drink myself to black out. I drink myself to make myself unconscious. That's total antithesis and antithetical to what I know I should do here. I do that which I don't want to do. Me and Paul, the fucking undercover Pharisee, Saul. God, they really put us through the ringer, didn't they, guys? But you know what? I heard this quote that came to me. I'm quoting, it said, I decided to stop raging against the system and start to fix the system, change the system. Tikkun Olam, motherfucker. See, it's all great. We're like, oh, yes, I see the darkness in me. I have to address that and to bring out the light of it. Transmute it. Well, here's where this theology gets fucked up. When you cast a whole people as the darkness left over from God's creation that needs to be wiped out. And you know a way that they could do that? Through DNA, motherfucking honing in upon. I just watched this in the latest James Bond movie where he actually dies at the end. Spoiler alert, sorry. So the name of the movie was like, I don't know, that girl, Anna Arminas, isn't it? I have to make sure I'm not physically attracted to her on a base level and don't appreciate her as a beautiful emanation of the goddess. No Time to Die, I believe is the name of the movie. In it, it's all about them engineering virus that attacked certain people when they matched up with your fucking DNA. Ian Fleming. This all goes back to British spies and who fucking has run Britain and their banks since forever. Who runs the Catholic banks of the Roman Church? You would think, oh, the Roman Catholic Church has their own bank? Think again, motherfuckers. Yeah, I should have done this on my other channel because I want this to be a safe haven with peace, and I'd be going on one. Whatever. I am not going to split myself off just because I want to cater to everybody. I want to make sure everybody's happy. I don't want anybody to not love me. That's a Libra trait. They make for good lawyers that way. They also make for good procrastinators that way. So, and we all have Libra somewhere. I'm thinking about doing astrological videos for kids. Somebody to do like any animators out there? So yeah, alcohol. I mean, maybe some of y'all haven't had to deal with that devil. But me and that devil went down to Georgia a couple of fucking times. And, hey, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Did y'all hear that music last time I did that? Devil went down to Georgia. Played the fiddle. The classical music. My internet connection's shot, and my voice is starting to hurt. I'm gonna cut this. I swear, I'm gonna start coming back more often. Levi, Angel, thank you too for always being there for me. Okay. Damn. Just wanted to play a little ditty for y'all. If that's wrong, I don't want to be right. Alright, let's send it out to this song. Can you hear it? We have to, the devil is in us. And we gotta turn that beast into a beauty. You know? Since I've been trying to live this life with a little bit of discipline, I love people more. Random strangers, I just see them like walking, I just look at their face, I'm like, fucking love this person.